Excitedly, the three of you rush inside, but suddenly there's a cry of alarm from one of the laborers. The stone slab behind you slams to the ground, and you are plunged into total, inevitable darkness. G'day, I'm Dave. I am the Keeper of Arcane Lore on the Stream of Chaos. We are Chaosium's official Liveplay channel, and we're playing Call of Cthulhu. Today we're playing one of 3 scenarios in Gateways to Terror, the Necropolis, and this scenario is available at chaosium.com. I'd also like to acknowledge Roll20, Sirenscape, and Web Captioner, which are all tools that help us run Call of Cthulhu. Links to these are available in the description below. You can find their websites and etc. Now, for the scenario we're playing today, it is November 26th in 1924. The 3 of you have been working tirelessly with shovel, spade, and trowel in the Egyptian Valley of Kings. The sun beats down as you carefully unveil the facade of an ancient structure cut deep into the cliff face. At your command, a party of contracted labourers set to clearing away millennia of sand, and soon a doorway is uncovered. 13 steps descend down towards a tomb which is sealed by a heavy stone slab. Inside, untold treasure awaits. Now, as the workers begin constructing a sort of pulley system to hoist the slab skyward, let's meet each of the investigators. So, why don't you begin?
Hi, I'm Art. I'm playing Dr. Ash Farley. I'm a professor of languages at University College in London. I predominantly spend my time translating Germanic texts. My speciality is ancient Egyptian hieroglyphics, and I assume, been brought along at the behest of one of the other characters who will meet shortly, to assist in the translation of anything you find down here.
What's your greatest accomplishment to date? What have you uncovered? What have you achieved?
Well, there was a rather complex discovering one of the Anglo-Saxon sites around the UK, which I was able to assist with. The pieces resting in the British Museum, which is quite exciting. I helped with the translation of the text on there, which you can see if you go. But of course, this is my first foray into actual Egyptian artifacts. Quite exciting.
Yeah, I was going to ask, is this your first time doing field work? Like out with shovels and things in the desert?
I mean, I have been to archaeological digs before, young man. I don't think that's really quite the appropriate sort of question, but this is my first outside of the United Kingdom.
Okay, fantastic. All right. So we have Dr. Ash Farley, Professor of Languages and expert in the historical. Up next, Jackson.
Hey, I'm Jackson, and I am playing Burke Bluey Williams, mate. He is obviously an Anzac soldier who was stationed in Egypt during the Great War. There was a bit of an incident. There was a misunderstanding with one of the hoity-toity British officers that ended in fisticuffs. So he was dishonorably discharged from the army, but he returned home and he felt a bit frustrated by his time and felt like he had to return to Egypt, perhaps to, I don't know, reclaim lost honor. He hasn't quite figured it out. I don't think he's that smart. But regardless, he's ended up here on this dig, kind of providing some muscle and some security. And he really needs to impress the employer so that he stays on the payroll.
So when you were contracted in, what did you expect to have to deal with? A couple of other rogue artifact expeditions hunting too close to your territory, or sort of roving?
Yeah, I guess Burke would have been surprised to hear that like archaeologists need security, and that maybe like filled his imagination with the fact that all of these other competing dig sites also have security, and maybe you know we butt up against each other every now and then. That'd be great. Yeah.
Perfect. So you've got a service pistol as well. Have you exchanged it for a trowel at any point? Have you been helping some of the workers, or is that not really your role here?
Yeah, I would have been like helping lift heavy stuff and set up the ropes and whatnot. I would have been putting my muscles to work. Not so much in the dirt, but certainly doing all the heavy lifting, as loudly and as conspicuously as possible, just to make it clear that I'm a valued member of the team.
There's no point doing anything if you don't get credit for it.
That's
Perfect.
right.
All right, and speaking of people you want to get credit from, Jim.
Yes, I am Jim, and I am playing Sir Albert Wellingsley. I am the funding, the excitement, the impetus, the artistic, the creativity. I am everything behind this expedition. It is my child, and I am its greatest product, of course. I was sent down here. I was inspired down here by some kind of divine providence, and I am having a wonderful time.
What form of divine providence was this? Was this a vision that came to you, or a particular
the
rune in
divine
your
providence
toast?
of Papa and Mama, who said that I have to do something if I want my pocket money.
Perfect. All right. Well, so Wellingsley, have you done anything practical yet, or are you in a more managerial position?
I do everything, of course. I practically lifted. Oh, dear me. There seems to be one of the camp dogs positively making a racket. But anyway, yes, I am an incredibly efficient and hard worker. I am personally responsible for most of the excavation work which has taken place. All the workers have to tell me so, or they're fired.
Fantastic. All right. Well, in that case, you're well loved because you pay well. All right. So there's suddenly a chorus of synchronized yells as the laborers heave the slab up and into the air, revealing the tomb's entrance. Stale air from the dark hallway invites you in with the promises of untold treasure. Excitedly, the three of you rush inside, but suddenly there's a cry of alarm from one of the laborers. The stone slab behind you slams to the ground, and you are plunged into total, inevitable darkness. You have been trapped. Now, immediately, I need the three of you to make sanity checks, and while I do that, I'm going to show the viewers our Roll20 setup, because we are going to look at a map.
Ooh.
All right, so let's go across. Oh, I got to launch the game first on my side.
Bluey doesn't like this, apparently.
Ash is Dr. Farley's barely holding on. But it's holding on.
Holding on all the same. All right, so... Actually... Yeah, no, that works. All right, so who failed amongst us? Bluey, all right, you are going
Just
to
Bluey.
take a D2 of sanity loss. The other two are only going to lose a single point.
Oh.
And so, Bluey, why does this terrify you? What's your reaction?
It's the massive bang of an enormous stone slab falling right behind him has the same kind of cadence and sudden of something exploding behind him, which is not a good feel. So he'd probably duck and go sprinting and dive for cover at the other end of the room, clutching his head and curling up into a ball until it passes.
Yeah, the flashes back to wartime artillery. All right, so in the darkness, you can smell dust, which has been sort of stirred up and into the air around you. It's quiet, apart from that, though, and although you can hear muffled on the other side of this heavy stone wall, the laborers, they begin scratching at it and trying to creak open the slab again. It's gonna take them some time to get it moving. Additionally, above you, Bluey, where you're sort of cowered against one of the walls, you can feel chips of the roof crumbling down around you a little bit. This area isn't particularly stable, and the intent with the pulley was to raise it up slowly and then lower it slowly. That sudden jarring movement has possibly unsettled the tomb and the area around you, but there's possibly still things inside and other places that you can go. Additionally, between the three of you, you each have a candle, or a small torch or something, which you'd have on your person. You take them out and you light them, and as crackling fire begins to illuminate the room, you can see that you are in a corridor. On either side, there are murals cut into the stone and hieroglyphic work below them, and in the far distance, you can see the shapes only visible on the edge of your light, which look like sort of pieces of furniture or something, small tables and maybe a chest. What's three of yours immediate reactions. What do you want to be doing?
I will begin. This is all a bit of an unfortunate misunderstanding, I think. I'll tell Mr. Williams to please stand and stop making an embarrassment out of himself, and I'll turn and rap quite politely upon the stone door. You've had your fun. Lift it up now. Come on. Yeah, come on.
Do you want to give me a... you could try a listen check to see if you can hear what's happening on the other side. Otherwise, an extreme persuasion roll to basically...
How about an extreme bloody intimidate? Let me out, or I'll have you all fired.
I'll take that, yeah. Unfortunately not. If you want to spend a lot of luck or push an almost impossible roll, you can. But otherwise, you are just yelling into dead air. Dr. Farley and Bluey, as you both stand up, a bit more practical, Wubbingsley berates the stone wall, but to no visible effect.
Well, if Sir Albert's talking about firing people, I'm going to join in whatever he's doing. I'm going to run over the door and heave as best as I can while shouting at the workers, "Oi, we're trapped in here! You got to get us out! Got to get us out!"
You could give me a straight strength roll to try and lift the stone wall, although from the other side, you noted that it took a team of 6 strong men and a constructed pulley system to get this going.
I'm not trying to lift it. Maybe I can just shift it enough that it falls down. I don't know. And just fall. Just scoot. Just scooch it a little bit. Just a little bit. Just scooch. Just scooch
Just
it.
enough to...
80 strength.
That is a really
good
good
God.
roll. I'll tell you what. With that, as you're able to like find a chip section, and Wubbingsley stands back and claps you on the shoulder. Good man. There's initiative. You are able to shift it just the tiniest bit, but as you do, the roof reacts, crumbling down a little bit around you, and you carefully set it back down. This cannot be opened by just yourself. You will need the others to synchronize and to heave it. But you are certain that if this comes down without a secure way of catching it, the whole roof could crumble, killing you or trapping you in the tomb inside. You step back.
Is there any chance I shifted enough to let some sound in? Or some air?
There's a little bit of air maybe filters through. Just enough that you would hear from the other side an argument breaking out amongst the workers, as some of them are yelling at one another, you know, who dropped this, who was the one that was supposed to be sort of, you know, watching the others. But it's matched with others who appear to be laughing at the situation, and footsteps as a couple of people walk away, but then it shifts back down and you can't hear anything further.
Well, bloody hell, it seems like we'll have to extract ourselves from this situation. Can't get good help these days, apart from you, of course, Mr. Williams. You have absolutely distinguished yourself. And then I'll glance across to the Professor of Languages and notedly not provide a compliment, because they are yet to amaze me.
So what are you doing, Dr. Farley?
Well, I think as you know, some of the rubble smacked on the top of the head gently. I look up and I'm like, "Oh, that's rather fascinating. They've got an inscribed the Book of the Sky on the ceiling. That's quite clever. Please don't drop Newt on our heads."
So there are, like you said, there's inscriptions on the walls and of the ceiling above, symbols of the sky and old, long, faded artwork covers it. You could make an archaeology roll or something to have a look at a few of these.
I think you mean Egyptian hieroglyphics is the roll I'm going to make.
You could try hieroglyphics. You'll need to find a specific set of. But yeah, definitely. So here we go. Yep.
Yep, I don't have archaeology. I only have translating.
Once you can see it, you can read.
Yeah, I'm gonna scan and see if there's anything immediately of interest in this hallway.
Of course.
Ooh.
Nice. Okay.
I'm quite good at this.
All right. So you begin to trace along an etching that is on either side of the walls. You're holding up this torch, and it's sort of casting shadows all through the little grooves and seals, which scratch out this fine and very, very detailed work. They seem to be telling a story all along it. And this is actually quite a strain on your ability as a translator. The work is scarred at a few points, and without a hard success, you wouldn't have been able to get anything. But you can see that this seems to tell a story of a pharaoh who possessed great powers beyond those of an ordinary mortal. These disjointed images on the panels show him smiting those who do not follow him with what seem to be a representation of sort of magical or energy abilities, and any that didn't subject themselves to his rule were killed instantly, and this is shown all across it at different points. You can also see that a few pieces of the facade have chipped away, and there are like hollow vacuums behind it at a few key points, and what look like bundled up figures inside. Small ones.
They're either cats or children. Lovely.
I'm sure that's very fascinating, but we've got to get out of here, right? Sir Albert can't be stuck down here. You know, it's a tomb for pharaohs, not for the likes of him.
Well,
So
interestingly enough, pharaohs were buried with a lot of interesting artifacts, if that's what we're looking for, which I believe Sir Albert was the intention of coming down here was to find such artifacts. Also, if we are in the tomb of a pharaoh, there should be a ship.
A ship? Oh, good God. And all kinds of interesting things. Listen, I'm not too concerned about writings of powerful beings. You know, we have plenty of those, and I don't think if you went into the crypts below one of the palaces in England, you'd likely to have King Arthur jump out and smack you with a sword, so I doubt we're going to have any trouble here. Let's continue on and look for the ship.
Yes, also, to be clear, it's not a model. It'll be a real ship.
A real ship?
They're very specific about how they get to the underworld. It's like a 3-stage journey kind of thing.
Ships in the middle of the desert. What will they think of next?
I mean, we are quite near the Nile.
Of course.
Rather large river. But yeah,
makes sense.
Regardless, I think if we were to head in, probably directly in front of us, given it's the only way to go, we'd possibly find something interesting.
Well then, let us continue forward. Mr. Williams, if you would guide us, lest King Arthur leap out and attempt to engage us in combat.
yeah, righto. Look, I'm just concerned about getting this door open again, right? Maybe we can like keep an eye out for anything that like construction materials and stuff like that, so that we can, you know, rig up something that's going to get this door open safely.
Well, again, the pharaoh, if it is in fact a pharaoh, the tomb we found was usually buried with all manner of things to make their journey and existence in the afterlife as comfortable as possible. It's not unreasonable to suspect that we may find building materials down here if they suspect the pharaoh might in fact need to build some, or actually no, the people they murdered with him will build things for him.
Yeah, righto.
Hopefully the pharaoh needed a portable generator and a winch.
One can only hope.
One can only. Okay, so as Farley turns back and studies the etchings a little bit further, Bluey, you set to proceeding down the hallway with Sir Wobbingsley in tow.
Is there anything in this room I could start like construction with?
In this room, no. I mean, you saw those bundles at the far side, so as you approach them, you see that there is a sealed wall on the other side. It looks as though this would normally give the illusion of this being a single room that doesn't go any further, but it's been broken away. In the bottom left corner of it, the limestone and plaster has been broken to create a tunnel into a room further beyond, and as you look down at it, you can see glimmers of gold or something glinting on the other side of this door. Additionally, bunched around in front of the archway is a collection of a huge ornate chest, fairly heavy. You yourself could possibly lift it, although anyone else would need a few people to work together. And inside it has been piled coins and gems and all sorts of valuable trinkets, both historical and just straight up melt it down and make money. But the hallway, the hole in the wall would be large enough to sort of crouch down and squeeze through. Nothing here though like a lever or a long enough crowbar.
So someone's come along and broken this door open at some point. At some stage, are we not the first ones to get down here?
Dearly hope we are. By all of my information, this was to be a new discovery.
Well, unless this happened, back in the day or whatever, I reckon we're probably not the first.
Perhaps
Because they're pretty serious about like sealing it all up as soon as old mates bug it off, right?
I believe
just
so,
corked it.
but I'm sure our expert professor will be able to inform us. They seal these places immediately. Are there many stories of tomb raiders and such?
Well, I mean, pyramids and tombs and what have you took a little while to complete. Like, they were furnished throughout the pharaoh's life to be ready on time of death, and occasionally people would be sealed in with him. Sometimes they would be dead first.
That's rather disconcerting. I'd hope that whoever was sealed inside would be able to escape, because it would imply that we too would be able to escape. But let's not mention that for now. Mr. Williams, would you mind please crawling through that tunnel, sir?
Yeah, righto. I crawl through the tunnel. I got a torch or a candle.
Yeah, you crouch down onto the ground and holding your torch aloft in one and using the other to kind of scrape yourself forward.
Well, I mean, I'm a little bit disconcerted by all this talking of burying alive. I think I will keep one hand on my pistol at this point.
You're gonna run out of hands eventually, but yeah, you're.
Oh, that's all right.
Actually, you can just unholster your pistol, then kind of crawl through the squeeze. It's tight, especially for you. But you make it through, and as you drag yourself the final way in, you hold your torch aloft, and you can see a large chamber. It's filled to the brim with treasure that almost reaches the ceiling. There are couches, chairs, tables, statues, tablets, and riches beyond measure. There is also, which is good news for Dr. Farley, a boat, quite a large one, right in the center of the room.
Called it.
As we move,
yes.
hold.
I may or may not have done my research before starting today.
You can also see that to the north there is an open archway, which has been broken, smashed through, and continues into another room. And to the right, as you look a little bit further, there is a large, heavy stone slab across another wall, and just in front of it are two tall, mummified creatures. As you look closer, the heads, though, are not mortal. They've been severed and replaced with one, a large alligator's head, and the other, what looks like a jackal or a desert dog.
Oh my.
Found your boat, Dr. Farley. And bit of a nice payday for us, I reckon.
Anything else?
Yeah, just some old geezers looking at me. Crocodile and a jackal.
Oh, Martin Anubis.
Yeah, right. They don't have much to say.
I'd hope not. You're not dead.
Yeah, come on through when you're ready, eh?
Very well. Would you like to go first, or shall I?
I mean, you are Sir Albert. Sir Albert, you decide.
I'll follow last. Please.
Very well. Of course. I'll wander on inside and be like, there he is, Martin Anubis. That's horrifying.
Yeah, so Dr. Farley squeezes through and is immediately entranced by the wonders inside. This is an incredible find, and you set to sort of inspecting different pieces as you slowly and meticulously work your way through the room. Wubbingsley, you're last. I imagine a more portly figure that needs a little bit of a squeeze. Is that right?
I think I'm kind of rake thin, actually.
Okay.
I take my time. I'm not too excited by wealth. You see, I have a lot of it already.
Are you dressed in one of those, what's the villain in the first Indiana Jones? The sort of all-white suit and hat that you really don't want to get dirty?
Yeah.
All right, perfect. Okay, the three of you push through and into this next room. As I said, filled with riches of all manner that you could inspect in greater detail. To the north, there is another, what should normally be sealed wall, and to maintain an illusion of this room going no further, but it has been broken through. And then to the right, there is an immense stone slab, possibly larger than the one that actually sealed the tomb. What do you want to be taking a look at?
So is this boat wooden?
Yeah, wooden core, but with a lot of golden filigree and detail work. It is clearly more ornamental than practical, but it'd float for a while.
All right, so I'm going to start looking at the joins on this one, see if I can't start pulling it apart, assuming no objections from my colleagues, because this is a matter of life and death here. So just going to have a look at these planks, see what we can jury rig up to try to pry that front door open.
Your alternative, if you're looking for something to lever with, the two mummified figures, the one with the alligator head is holding a tall, like, battle axe of shining silver, like it's still pretty nice, and the other one, the jackal-headed creature, has a kopesh, which is like a long sickle-esque sword. Those being metal might serve your purpose.
Right. No, yeah, I think we'll use those as the levers, and then just use some of the wood to reinforce the ceiling as best we can.
Nice. All right, so you're going to look at that. Dr. Farley and Sir Wubbingsley, what's your intent?
First of all,
After you, please.
I was going to say, I'm going to make a retraction, which is not much. Amit is the crocodile-headed god who will eat you if your heart isn't lighter than feather. Yes. Good time. I double-checked my notes and was like, no, wrong god. Whoops. I'm going to have a look around the room and sort of just start nattering to Sir Albert as I go, essentially being like, so you can see here, this is the 3 stages of traveling from the mortal realm to the afterlife. So here they're talking about going down the river.
Where are the letters? It's all pictures.
I consider it like childhood novels. So yes, they head on down the river, and you can see here.
I never read childhood novels; they were always read to me.
Well, I'm going to do the same then. Read it to you. Yes, and then you get.
I wonder what's over here.
Be able to read. I think at one point they're like, sort of reading, and they goes, "Oh, and this bit over.
Problem?
No. There were just some personal wishes for the pharaoh here as well. This one specifically says they hope he is as virile in the afterlife as he was when he was alive.
Oh my.
Anyway, funny what you find in the earth. And I'm just gonna then trail off and continue looking at everything.
Kind of nattering in the direction of the others who are listening to
I think I stopped after that. I'm like, I'm not going to say anything out loud anymore until I'm sure of what it says.
Yeah. So Wubbingsley, what are you working on?
Yes. I'm going to stride forth into this other room to the side and see what other secret this tomb has to reveal.
All right, so you're heading up towards the top.
Yes.
Okay, so a few things are going to happen then. First of all, Bluey, as you head forward and investigate the mummified
weapons,
bodies and the weapons that they carry, it's a bit more gruesome than you anticipated. These figures, the humans inside, have been impaled on spears to remain upright, and the connection between the head and corpse, which looks kind of seamless from a distance, is like lopsided. You can see like grisly wounds where they basically lopped off one head and then jammed on the other ones, and rudimentary stitching with like just like bone pieces plunged through each piece of skin to hold them in place. Can you give me a sanity roll?
Bit of a rush job then, eh? Oof. Yeah,
right.
No, I don't like it.
That's going to be a single point of loss, sanity loss, as you sort of, again, stumble back a little bit. But if you want, you can retrieve the weapons from them. And I also take back what I said earlier. They'd be bronze rather than silver.
12.
All right. So
I'll take the weapons and head back to the boat to to start identifying the best planks to reinforce the entrance.
Perfect. A battle axe seems the more suitable wood chopping tool, so you relieve the alligator of it and set to hacking apart the boat. Dr. Farley, as you're going through these hieroglyphics and just taking in the room, you notice that there are some differences between this and what you might expect. For one thing, all the items here don't date to a specific period in Egyptian history. It's like they've been gathered from different ages, collected all in one place. Something odd about it, and it kind of defies logic, at least for the moment. Nothing really makes sense about that. Additionally, as you're looking at like the tale of traveling beyond and basically being like weighed for the afterlife, there are perversions to it as well. Gods are wrong, tools are being misused, and everything's cast in a kind of ill and foreboding light. There's definitely something dark at work here, and it's beginning to kind of put you on edge. So Wubbingsley, as you continue north into a small annex, you see that there is a small room containing a number of different religious artifacts. For one, there are small clay soldiers or dolls which are dotted all across the floor as if keeping watch or forming rows of guards. On the northern wall, there is an immense mural with hundreds of golden tentacles like swirling up and around it. On the south wall, there is another. And on the floor, in front of a small desk, is a skeletal corpse, still dressed in like a little jacket with a bag to its side, which has just fallen down. You can see like cracks in the skull where it's been broken. On the little table itself is an inverted ankh with golden like tentacles wrapped around it. Can I get a sanity check from you? And I'll quickly go to the map just to show our viewers what we're looking at.
Bloody hell. Oh, curses.
Go ahead and take a point until you look into things closer. But yeah, a corpse bodes ill.
Are they wearing robes or the jacket, ceremonial
No.
kind of?
Yeah, more dressed not dissimilarly to you.
There's been someone else in here. Gonna have a quick look before I tell the others. Bend down, go through the pockets, try and see if I can figure out who this fellow is.
Okay, all right. You crouch down and begin to go through his pockets. You immediately, first of all, like, as you're going through one pocket, the ribs shift kind of uncomfortably, clearly broken in places, and you quickly keep going through. You also find they have a bag, and as you finish going through it, you can see that it is filled with gold and bronze jewelry. They've clearly raided the area. Then there is also in the satchel a trowel for like, archaeological stuff, a flask which is now filled with rank, fetid water, a German passport, which you might recognize, again dated a bit and aged, but useful. Sorry, not useful. I don't know why I said that. A stick of dynamite and a journal, which as you look at it is also written in German.
Right. Well, I best return the effects. I'll head back into the main chamber, and it appears I've found our tomb raider, a German fellow, I believe. The effects are here, and I'll place it upon a surface in the middle of the room.
I speak German.
Ah, very good. Do you want to, perhaps the journal or the passport could give some more information?
Well, I don't think the passport, I can find the name very easily. I don't know if there's anything more useful from there, but the journal certainly.
Excellent. Well, I mean, yes, please, after you.
Very well. Do we have a name for this gentleman?
Yeah, definitely. So as you leave through the passport, this person is well traveled. It shows them darting all around the world and a lot of time spent in Africa. The man's name is Sasha Kana, and the interesting note is that they were born in 1880, so a bit before this time, given that we're now in 1924. Reasonable that they'd still be alive, but gives you
Actually, probably not that far off when I was born.
Yeah, guess it just depends how old they were when they did some digging and destroying.
Oh, well, yes. I'm not saying that they lived the same age as I did. I'm just saying we were born around the same time.
Yeah.
I suppose I'll try and translate this journal.
Okay. You speak German, so it's just a matter of finding more relevant passages, but you set to, flicking through this and beginning to have a read. What about the two of you? Bluey and Sir Albert?
I think after you, Mr. Williams.
Do you reckon you know how long he's been dead for? Can I?
Quite some
First
years,
aid
I presume.
or medicine?
Yeah, I'll go have a quick look see.
Okay, so you're going to head up into the room as well?
Yeah, righto. But first aid.
Yeah, go for it.
First aid. There's nothing I can do for him. I'm sorry. I was just too late.
Yeah, you can see the same. The skull's been visibly fractured, as has the chest, but hard to get a date. The skin's almost completely gone. This thing's a skeleton at this point.
Skull's been fractured by like a blunt object.
Yes, presumably.
And that's
Or a
all I
rock
can tell.
falling, and there's nothing
Obvious.
like around.
No obvious blunt objects around.
Well,
As you realize that, can I be standing over you idly, like hitting a golden scepter into my hand? And find anything?
There's like the scattered little clay statuettes around, and there's the large inverted ankh, but nothing on the floor around him to indicate like a tumble or something smashing against him. Possibly betrayal.
Well, he's knocked his noggin at some point. Maybe someone's hit him from behind or something, or he's knocked something onto him and then stumbled over here to lie down.
I bet he activated a trap. I'll tell you what, I think that I can probably figure out if there was a strange ritual in place that was going. I'm an enthusiastic occultist. David, can I make an occult check to try and find out where more traps would be in the room? Like I'm going over walls and being like, and this will release snakes, which is symbolic of yada yada yada.
Sure. Give me an occult roll, and also, given you mentioned the walls, you take a moment to look at the murals on either side. On the southern wall, there is a large painting of a sort of smiling, black-robed pharaoh who is holding an oversized set of scales, not dissimilar to what Dr. Farley was talking about, being the post-life mythos. On one side, there is a heart, and on the other, there is a platter of dead animals. A kneeling figure just in front of it, which has the head of a wolf, has a chest wound, which is being stretched open by two smaller men to show a gaping void inside. With your successful occult roll, you can see that this is a representation of the weighing of the heart ceremony, where the gods judge mortals to see if they are worthy of entering into the afterlife. But again, this is a perversion of it. Typically, it's weighed against a feather, but what you see here is a platter of dead animals, which you actually suspect represent the other gods in the Egyptian mythology. The kneeling figure with the chest being torn apart seems to represent Anubis, or possibly Set. It's hard to tell.
Right.
There are also hieroglyphics along some parts of the wall, but you can't translate those. Briefly, on the northern wall, you can see there is a scene of an Egyptian city being attacked by this army of sort of like twisted and horrible looking beings. A number of them have the bodies of men and the heads of animals, and black tendrils are sort of bursting forth from the ground and from the sky to meet in the center, ruining the city from below and from above. A pharaoh, robed entirely in black, is seen with a just black smear for a face, and is seated on a pyramid-like throne, which is being carried by some of the animals. I need a sanity roll from you.
Very, very good, very good. Yeah, Papa.
You're all good? Yeah, okay. Take 1 point.
Lumen head.
As we do this, Art, I've just shown you a handout. Do you want to take a look through that? And then once you've had a look at it, I'll get you to read it for the audience as well.
I
So that's what
have to
you're
like
looking at,
lean into my computer because it's very small.
If you scroll down, I've transcribed it into text. Will probably be a little bit easier.
Well, you can right-click
Oh,
in
yeah.
the image in a new tab.
Yeah. All right. Bluey, what are you doing at this point? As Salbert goes over the walls, you had a quick look at the body.
Yeah, nothing else I can do for him. I'm going to go back to the boat and keep on salvaging planks. How am I doing on that front?
Do you want to give me a mechanical repair check?
Yeah, I'm pretty good at that.
Yep, that works.
Success.
Okay, yeah, you plant the axe in it, and pieces of it splinter away, and soon you're beginning to find.
Hard success any good for me?
I tell you what, yeah, I mean it'll get you there faster. You can begin to actually find some like structural pieces underneath the decoration and collect them together. Yeah, I think that'll. I'll take
3 points of luck there for you, mate, for a hard success.
All right, you're making good progress. You have a few pieces of timber set aside, and you're also beginning to look around and like raid other priceless artifacts in order to stabilize the roof above you. Is the intent to immediately start stabilizing this area, or to go back into the other room and stabilize it for a rise?
Yeah, we'll use it just in the entrance, stabilize as much of the ceiling in there as we can, and then once I've done as much as we can, move the slab right out.
Okay. All right. So you take a couple of pieces, move them over towards the doorway, go back, splinter some more, and continue your work. Dr. Farley, how are you?
Concerned.
Do you want to give us a read?
Yes. Do you want me to literally verbatim?
Yeah, go for it. Or give a summary. Up to you.
7th August 1916. Word has reached us of fierce fighting north, close to the Suez Canal. Our men are scared enough as it is without fear of being killed in any crossfire. Their superstitious beliefs have delayed the dig more than once, and I do not care for any further stoppages. We dig tirelessly through the loose sand and rock. We are close. 3rd of September 1916. Today was glorious. We have found the entrance. Moving the doorway was difficult, but we created a pulley system that allowed us entry. More work greets us inside. Limestone chips have clogged the entirety of the tunnel. I have halted the removal of the stones until I have surveyed the structure and documented what we have learned thus far. Sutton thinks my meticulous records are unnecessary and time-consuming. 1st of December 1916. Finally, the tunnel is now almost clear. Some of the workers have taken a great interest in the damaged hieroglyphics in the passageway. Today we remove the last of the stone chips and explore. The stonework looks unstable. It may be too risky to use the explosives. 3rd of December, 1916. Sutton is dead. The local labourer attacked us and broke his neck when he refused to be forced inside the tomb. Beware the children of the Sphinx. I plan on waiting a couple of hours in the hope that they will have gone. I'll gather some of the jewellery and then make my escape. This place will not be my tomb. I can hear noises. Something else is here with me.
As you finish reading it to your allies, Bluey has stopped for a moment, his splintering work, and Sir Wubbingsley begins to return from the annex. You close the journal, trembling ever so slightly, and all three of you can hear what sounds like a ba-boom, ba-boom of a heartbeat from somewhere behind that large stone wall in the east of the tomb. There's shifting of metal and stone as something breaks in the other room, and then heavy footsteps of something walking towards you. What are the three of you doing?
Oh,
Which room?
God.
The one over to the right, you can see there's a stone let me move you. Just in
Former
front of you.
trenches or something.
Duck back into the room in the north. Let's stay low. Let's stay quiet. Let's see what exactly this thing is, and we'll see what happens. Either one of you could swing a battle axe, you reckon?
I don't want to get myself trapped in some small room. No, I'm gonna dive for the boat and hide under it.
Okay, all right. Do you want to give me
the boat
a...
that now has enormous holes in it because I've been taking planks out.
Fine, it's fine.
There's so much stuff in this room that anyone that tries to hide can do so with a bonus dice. Although I will say that your torches might give
Have to
you
go
away,
out.
and you'll need to extinguish it. Yeah. Additionally, as you're looking at them, they are beginning to fade a little bit around you.
I'll place my torch just down in the middle of the room, and then hide, so I'm not holding it. Yeah.
All right, give me a stealth test with a bonus dice. Dr. Farley and Bluey.
I'm going to duck into the North Annex as recommended.
Yep.
And hide there with my pistol well and truly drawn.
All right. I will presume that. So if we go to combat, you'll add 50 to your initiative because you have a firearm readied. I'll also say that you have you'll gain a bonus die for basically being ready to go. That said, as long as you are holding a torch in your other hand, you will take a penalty dice on attacks because you can't stay.
Yeah. No, I'll have to put the torch out and put it down to stay hidden.
Are you going to extinguish it?
I think I'll have to, otherwise whatever is in here is gonna know we're there.
So sorry, are you going to try and hide or are you aiming? Bonus die on the first attack or stealth roll?
Aim. No, I'm gonna stealth. I'm gonna put the torch out, but I'm gonna have my pistol out.
Okay.
Just in case anything comes right up to my face, I guess. It's gonna be pitch black, isn't it?
Yeah, I've just turned off your lights on the dynamic lighting. So
No!
You can't. As your torch fades, the light dims in the annex, and the strange murals all around you will shift into black. You shift your feet a little bit on the stonework, and a couple of those little statues get knocked over, clattering on the ground around you. Give me a stealth check with a bonus dice. Ash.
36 is regular success.
You're good. Dr. Farley, what do you want to do?
I'm getting behind the man with the gun.
Always a good strategy. All right, do you want to give me a stealth check as well? And are you keeping your light?
I will probably defer to Mr. Williams if he says get rid of it. I shall get rid of it.
Get rid of it.
I do have capacity to relight things should you require light, just to nudge me.
Did Sir Albert drop his torch still lit? Or did he put it out?
Yes,
I put mine still lit in the middle of the room and then scurry off to hide.
Righto, bold move.
Let me quickly.
Is that not coming, please? I have it set to
In the middle of the room, right?
Yep.
Right. So I will take off your.
And also,
lighting.
I got a hard success on my stealth check. But would you want to try and tempt me to spend 2 points of luck for an extreme?
For an extreme? No, I think with a hard, you think you're in place. You could take it if you wanted to. It gets. You're basically then you're completely hidden. I'll be honest, you are probably all right with the hard, but
I don't think you are.
I'm gonna be safe. I'm gonna spend 2 points of luck and take an extreme. Thank you.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Noted.
Okay.
How have you gone, Ash? See, there was
for
a
some reason
hieroglyphics in there too.
No, sorry. My stealth isn't rolling verbose. Everything else is, but that isn't.
Weird.
It's just that one. So 61 over 20 is absolutely a failure, but it's not critical.
All right. So you've succeeded as well. So all three of you
points of
sort of
luck. Sorry,
slink
everyone.
back away into the shadows or scramble underneath some of the random debris. There's another thunder of a heartbeat, and then suddenly that stone slab that you were looking at just explodes across the ground and into the room in front of you, skidding past the two bodies and slamming into the golden filigree in the center. Standing up and moving through and in front of it comes an enormous abomination that you can only just see on the edge of the light. It is a huge, muscular figure dripping with open wounds and pus-filled sores, syrup-like blood that becomes a sheen along its body, and its head is that of a golden African dog, which pulls itself open and then extends more than it should possibly be able to do, its long tongue lolling out to the side and then lashing through the air around it. It lets out a chilling howl and then begins to sniff along the ground, pacing forward and looking for people. As it does, it disturbs one of the columns on the side of the room, and the whole thing shakes again just a little bit more. This area is barely holding itself together, but all three of you are currently hidden, but it's only a matter of time. This is a small place, and there isn't long enough you can hide. There we go, got there in the end. All right, so we are going to go to dexterity order as we resolve this. Bluey, you're first because you have a readied weapon, and also because you have the highest dex.
I'm not inclined to use it, to be honest. Are we talking some
sanity?
some sanity rolls?
Yeah, absolutely.
Is what I was going to
Sorry,
ask.
good flag. Everyone make a sanity roll, please.
Can Mr. Williams and I actually see this yet?
If you are pointedly not looking, I will say you won't, but there's always as soon as you see it, you are going to have to make that sanity roll. So you could
I was peeking around the corner where
I would
the
very much not look. I'm probably still trying to.
I will still take a sanity roll from you, Dr. Farley, but what it is it's you kind of plugging your ears, but you can still hear this thing breaking through.
Oh dear.
Oof.
Oh dear.
All right. So Wubbingsley, you succeeded. You will take 1 point. Dr. Farley, you failed, but you didn't see it. You will take a D3. Bluey, you failed.
Yeah.
You're looking at it. You are going to lose a D6 of sanity.
Yikes.
Yikes.
5 in one hit.
All right.
5 in one hit.
Make an
5 in one hit.
intelligence roll for me.
Do I comprehend what I'm seeing? I'm not that smart. No.
All right, you're okay. You look at it and you just kind of push it to the back of the mind. This is a problem for later and for therapy. All right.
I am 2 points off indefinite insanity, though.
You're up first.
Oh, no. Alrighty. I'm not inclined to shoot it because I don't want to draw attention just yet. It's just kind of stumbling around. Which direction was it going in?
It's probably
best I can
moving
tell.
towards Sir Wubbingsley.
Yeah.
That being said, he rolled really well on his hide, so he's not only under the boat, he's under a thing under the boat. Even if it gets thrown off, he's scrambled his little way in there.
That's what I'm
he's
counting
probably
on.
moving to the torch in the center of the room, the only thing letting the three of you see.
At the risk of this becoming a bit tired, did I hear there was a stick of dynamite in the German's belongings?
There absolutely was.
Yes.
It'd be good to have that on hand.
Wubbingsley, do you think you have that, or would you have left it behind?
I don't think I brought it. I think I grabbed the journal and if I did, I placed it in the middle of the room with everything. Okay. But I don't think I consciously took anything.
So, Bluey, can you give me, given the darkness and everything, can you give me a spot hidden check?
Oh. Oof.
You can push it.
Almost a critical.
You can push it, possibly alerting the creature to your position, or you can spend a lot of luck.
I would prefer not to push that, but perhaps I will whisper to Dr. Farley. Old mate over there's got a bit of dynamite. Might be good to have that close to hand.
Just an aside. This whole place is going to come. Sorry, just assume I'm whispering, because otherwise it's going to be difficult.
Yeah.
The whole place will come down if we use that.
Yeah, I reckon so.
I see. You're going to bring Newt down on its head.
Better that than whatever it is. Get out there. Maybe there's something in the next room we can use.
I'll take a look for it. If I see it, I'll point it in your direction. I'll point you in its direction. I will.
Yeah. Meantime, let's just duck into where it came from. Assume it keeps going in the right direction.
That's a good idea.
Righto. Too easy. No worries, mate. Fair dinkum.
Fair dinkum. So you don't want to do anything, basically, Blue? You're just going to keep an eye on it, keep it trained?
Yeah,
I guess you did the spot hidden. You fumble around with your foot for the dynamite, but you're being very careful not to knock over the little dolls that surround the area. Okay, all right. Your turn passes, and we go to Sir Albert Wubbingsley.
Okay. Now, this thing's coming this way. I don't want to be here, and there's nowhere to run back in that direction or that direction. I'd like to try and get past the creature.
Okay.
Quietly.
What do you want to
Sneakily.
try and do? So just circle around the outside of
Yes,
the firelight?
Exactly. At the edge of the firelight, just kind of circle past and sneak through and hide in the room that it came from.
Okay, I am gonna need either a dexterity or a dodge test. I will give you a bonus dice because you hid very well and it doesn't know you're there, but you do need to skirt past it.
Very good. All right, dexterity.
Go for it.
Success. Move a bonus, still a success.
Okay, all right. You shift. Let's go to the right layer. You shift around it and into another room, but in the darkness, you like squeeze past this thing and your hand brushes against one of the mummified creatures for a moment. You can barely see anything. You bump into some like shattered stonework along the ground and then keep stumbling forward, barely able to see a thing.
Yeah. Mechanically, I'm just going to crawl further and just keep going until you
hit
go as
something?
far into this room as I possibly can.
You have hit something that feels cool and metallic to the touch when you stop.
Okay.
All right. Up next is Dr. Ash Farley.
I'm, on instruction from Mr. Williams, going to look for the dynamite. If I
Alright.
may.
Make a spot hidden check for me.
Oh dear. No.
Yeah, no, unfortunately. You could push it or you could spend some luck, if you please.
Quite a lot of luck.
It is 32.
22.
Or you could push the roll again. The risk is just that you are seen.
I can't find it. Do we need it?
I'd rather have it than not.
Would you like me to push the roll?
That's up to you.
No, because it's going to come for both of us, so I'm asking you. If
Yeah, but
you're
I've got a gun.
Yeah, you're in front of me. If you don't care that it's going to come at us, I'll push the roll.
That would amuse me terribly.
Very good. I shall push this roll.
I am so goddamn excited. All right, go for it.
I've got a 45% chance of succeeding.
No, wait, don't.
Well done. You think you feel it sort of like scattered amongst some of the other idols, and you like with your foot like kick out enough to sort of like tumble it towards you. It rolls silently along the floor, and when you pick it up, you have a single stick of dynamite, and the words of the very, very dead German repeat in your head about how the whole thing threatens to collapse if explosives are used. Do you want to hand it over?
I should tap the dynamite on your shoulder. I'm like, Mr. Williams.
You keep it for now. I'm going to keep a hand on my pistol.
Tuck it into whatever bag I have with me for the time being.
All right. So you jam it into your pocket, and then as the turn passes to the abomination, it slinks further into the room. It reaches the torch in the center of it, and as it does, one large foot reaches out and just crushes, pushing it down into the gold, and the light goes out. So I've given each of you some vision. That's like your current area and kind of based on you feeling things out, but you can see nothing. It is pitch black, and I need all of you to make a sanity check.
2 points of... Oh, not good.
Okay.
All right. The failure will just be 1 point. And be tracking indefinite, because remember, if you lose a fifth of your sanity...
That's 1 more point for me. I'm down from 50 to 41.
Wow.
9 points loss. A fifth is 10. 1 more point, and I'm indefinitely insane.
You can also no longer see the creature. You can hear snuffling from the other room, and you can hear clinking as it like breaks things around it, but there's no sight of the thing, and you're now going entirely off touch. All right, we go back to the top with Burke Bluey Williams.
At the very least, can I tell whether it's moving away or toward the annex?
Make a
Or is
listen
it-
check.
Oh, a 20. Hey!
This won't be your full action. This is just kind of getting a read for it.
Yeah.
Hey, that's pretty good. It is not currently going to the annex. No, it's probably following the most recent scent, which is Albert, and it's going over. Like it's the boat was destroyed, so it's going towards that, and it's beginning to rifle through it. You can hear shifting, and you don't necessarily know that Sir Albert has escaped and isn't still cowering under it. So as it begins to like scrape through it. Actually, with a success, I will say you also hear like the tiniest from the other room, and you know Sir Albert is away.
Excellent.
All right.
But Albert
All
is
right.
now goofy.
Yeah.
I reckon
Oh,
Yeah,
oh, fuck.
I'm gonna die.
I'm gonna whisper back to the good doctor. As long as it's looking at the boat, I reckon we'll make a break for the other room it came from. 3, 2, 1, scramble.
All right. Do you want to give me a dexterity roll?
I will.
And I'm gonna say this is going to be with a penalty dice, given you are in complete darkness, scrambling along the ground. Or I could take stealth. Up to you.
Stealth with a penalty?
Yes. Either or, dexterity or stealth. Stealth being like just creeping around and going
Yeah.
slowly. Dexterity
I'll
being
take
basically
the dex. Sprint sneaking.
yeah. Because you are all
I
currently
gotta-
hidden.
Oh,
Oh, beauty!
But apparently,
With a penalty die.
here we go.
oh,
Oh no!
Luck
You
it, luck it.
bastard.
Or you
Brain.
can push it.
87 turned to 65
20 luck.
is 23? 22.
22.
22? I can afford it.
All right, it's done. You
Zoom.
go like stumbling out. You step over the things, but it's when you get to suddenly you feel the like bandages of one of these staked and mummified figures, and you flinch, almost stumbling backwards. But it's Albert who hears you coming and reaches out, like grabs you down to the ground, and the two of you are now in the other room. Away from the creature. As you went past, you were also certain that you came uncomfortably close to the abomination.
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm gonna, with the end of my turn, turn around and point my pistol back toward the darkness, getting ready to charge back in there and start shooting if it sounds like Dr. Farley runs into trouble.
Okay.
But I'm hoping they were right behind me.
Yep. All right. Speaking of right behind you. Oh, no, not yet. So Albert Wubbingsley.
Very good. Now I know we're in this room. It's our one hope to try and find something. So I'm going to start edging around the side of the room and fumbling in my breast pocket. I will pull out one of the pieces of equipment listed on my character sheet, which is a box of matches.
Oh,
and
yeah.
just a second.
Hell yeah.
Just so I can start scanning the room. And I can see with my little sphere of light, I can see this wall just here. So I'm going to try and use that to shield the match that I would give off from the abomination. So I go to the wall, I drag my hand along it to the corner, and then once I get into the corner, I...
Great idea. Okay. Give me a stealth roll. Regardless, take a bonus dice because you are established, but this is a short risk, and I will then illuminate the room regardless for just a beat. Bonus dice.
With a 4, that is... I'll give you 4
points?
points of luck.
I'll take them. All right. The match surges into light for just a moment. Let's do that. And you're able to see the room. So
Ooh.
what you are currently in, there is an immense golden sarcophagus that looks as though it has exploded open, shattering the outer wooden sarcophagus into splinters that now surround the room. A pair of wooden oars stand up in the far corner of the room, and to the south you can see that there is another door or an open arch which continues further down.
I mean, my intention was to go straight down to the corner, and I can now see that there is a doorway which I hope leads to victory. So I'm gonna be heading for that.
Okay, all right. Lastly, as you like spark it, you only see it for a moment, but as the match begins to fade back down to that tiny little glimmer, the sarcophagus Normally the lid depicts like a sort of like a noble pharaoh, regal and sort of like in control. This one is screaming in anguish, its face like contorted in pain and agony, and the match back down to nothing. Can you give me a sanity roll, and I will reduce your light once more. Just a point. All right. That takes your turn as you begin to follow the wall south towards the door, which you know is further down. Dr. Ash Farley, you're away.
Track and field champion.
You are alone
100-meter
in
dash.
the room with a skeleton behind you, evil murals around, a stick of dynamite, and a can-do attitude.
Right. There's bones at my feet, all like little statues and things, right?
Correct.
Can I hoik one to make just enough noise that I might be slightly more able to get around this thing?
Hell yeah. I tell you what, I will give you... You already have a bonus die on the roll. I will give you a sec... Yeah, because you guys succeeded your stealth check previously. I will give you another bonus die for no additional roll, but doing this is going to kind of... The creature now knows there's things moving around again, and it kind of stirs itself back into action.
I succeeded at my stealth roll before, and I got a penalty die for it.
Sorry. You're
Making
right,
the
because
dash.
it's complete darkness. Thank you, Jackson. This will
Yeah,
be,
that's
this will
alright.
bring you to neutral. That is completely
Lovely.
right. I forgot about that. Thank you, Jackson.
Good. Yes.
Forgot about the
good.
pitch black we're doing this.
Yeah, I apologize to Art, but
No.
thank you.
That's fair. That's
Fine.
fair. That's fair.
Yes.
So this will
So
bring
I'm
you to a
gonna do
straight
that.
roll. All right,
Yep. I'll take dexterity. Thank you. It's definitely my highest.
go for it.
I
Flat
think.
roll.
Yes. No.
Would you like to push?
What's the penalty?
Oh, that creature's gonna find you. You're going right past it. You get to where the stone slab that was blocking off the entry to this chamber has been shunted out into the center of the room, and as you get to it, you realize that you can't find the way like around it to the easy way. So you're going the long way around, and as you do, you're gonna go right past this creature.
Drive it like you stole it.
Hell yeah!
Yay!
Yes! All right, Dr.
Do
Farley
I still
begins.
get into the other room though?
Oh,
Is the-
hey, Dr. Farley, you begin to move past it, but your hand brushes against the creature for just a moment, and you realize what you're touching as your hand comes away slick with pus and bile. The scent is almost
God.
sweet, and suddenly the creature swings around, its jaws snap close around you, but you tug away and you sprint, running towards the other room with your allies, the creature in hot pursuit. You can hear it now, like just turning things over. It comes barreling towards you. It is its turn, and it wants to act. It bundles into the room, and
Just
suddenly...
to,
Bluey and Ash, you are faced with this monster. Yeah, Jim?
Just to add to the disaster, since the doctor was able to avoid the severe sanity roll earlier from not seeing it, do we have to remake
you
sanity
are
rolls?
Absolutely right. Yes, go ahead and give me another sanity roll.
There's no light.
But
We
I'm
still haven't
not
seen
seeing
it.
it.
you have touched the creature. There is a very... You have engaged with it.
Very good. Very good.
Okay, you're
I
right.
have to say,
You're right. You got the gist of it. It's fine. Nothing
just-
different about this.
Just very politely. Fuck you.
All right, as the creature breaks into the room, it towers above the two of you, and it is going to make a swing. So
At
it will attack.
Dr. Farley.
Yeah, it's the one that it was chasing. So let's give it a whirl.
Like a dodge.
From one of its hands, forward tumbles an immense Khopesh, one of those like long sickle-like swords, and it swings it across the room towards you. Dr. Farley, would you like to dodge or attempt
Dodge.
to fight back?
No, I will dodge, thank you.
Okay. You will have a penalty dice as long as we are in complete darkness. None of you can see. This is This is its terrain, not yours. Someone might want to think about getting some light going.
Oh no, that was my next plan.
All right, go ahead and give me that dodge roll.
Very good. I don't think I'm doing very well with this. No. I don't think it's
With
going to
penalty
change.
dice. So you could, if you spend 26 points of luck right now, that succeeds. And I will tell you, it rolls 3d6 of damage.
Oh god.
26 points. That's not much.
Look, given that it takes like 30 points not to die, and I feel like this is the same bloody thing, because I have like 9 hit points, yes.
If it makes it better as well, 30 points is only a pulp rule.
That's a pulp roll.
Oh,
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
I only have 45 luck. What did you say I need to spend?
It would be
26.
26.
Brings you down to 19.
It does indeed. Very well. That, I will dodge. Yes.
All right, yeah, it's just dumb luck. This thing swings across you, and you tumble down to the ground past the splintered wood and the ice-cold sarcophagus. It roars in anger. Its attack unsuccessful, and Bluey, you have the initiative.
I did say I was aiming, and
Yeah.
it is like close,
Just
like
right up in your shit.
point blank.
And it's large, which if it's above a certain size,
It's actually
you'll also...
technically. Oh no, hang on. You're right. Let's count it out. Its build is 4, so yeah. So you will gain bonus die for point blank, bonus die for its increased size, penalty dice for the darkness.
Bonus die for
We're
aiming.
Aiming.
Still
I
up.
was aiming at the end of my last turn. I moved
I
and
think
then I aimed.
mechanically the oh you're right. I'll give it to you.
I just
You're right, you're
moved and then I aimed back toward the door. All right.
Yeah, you're right. You had a pistol, and also its large size comes through the doorway towards you. Yeah, take two. Go for it.
Excellent. All
Try
right.
it. Try and
Impaling.
succeed.
Here we go.
But it's close
All
enough.
right.
I'm going to riposte you.
You can try.
I will absolutely try.
All right. Success. Not a success, but still a success. And the last one, 25 is a hard.
It got a hard as well. That just gets you in. All right.
No. Riposte loses ties.
Yeah, I know. That gets
Yeah.
it got a hard success as well. The hard success gives it to you. It was close. All right. Yeah, you thumb the hammer and squeeze up around. There's a flash of bright light, and suddenly all of you can see the creature towering above Bluey. And then it thuds. How much damage do you do? Dose. Tell you what, you're on the board. We count that. It does not have a unending pool of hit points, I would just say. That's 2 is
good
not
to
going to
know.
do it, but all right, yeah, with the flash you will see it for a moment. It recoils, and then it keeps its charge.
How does a revolver work with multiple attacks? Can I have another go with a bonus die? Is that how
No,
it goes?
unfortunately. So you can, but you need to flag it in advance. What you can do is you can, I think it's called fanning the hammer or something. You
Okay.
can take a penalty dice on all 3
On all the attacks,
and attack
yeah.
3 times.
Well, I needed the extra bonus die to hit it at all, so that's fair enough.
But for next time, you can absolutely take that.
Excellent.
All right. That is going to bring us to Sir Wubbingsley. The other 2 are engaged with the monster which is powering behind you.
Everybody, this way, quick! And I'll try and urge them into this room. Can I sprint into this room and light another match? I'm going to look for the next door to continue ahead.
And this time you're not bothering with hiding it.
Subtlety? No, I'm yelling to them to get this way. I think we've been spotted.
So before you light the
We've
match,
been spotted. You hadn't been spotted.
do you want
I stand alongside my my
You're
friends.
behind right now.
That's it. So, do you want to just light a match and let it flare into brilliance and then take an action? Or do you want to light it and it... Actually, I'll tell you what. We'll light it first, and then if you want to, you can try and turn it into like a longer lasting torch. Up to
Sure.
you. So let me give you your vision back. Let's go 15, save. Okay, so... you are in a small,
there's no other rooms.
treasury
room of
room, and it goes no further. Inside here, you can see there are small boats, chariots, and even a model of an entire Egyptian city. Towards
That's
the
so
back,
interesting.
there is a chest inside of which you can hear the thunderous heartbeat of a still beating heart. but it's large and heavy and looks like it would be difficult to open. As you said, it goes no further. From behind you, there's a roar of anger, and the abomination's attention switches to you. You have your action.
I will squeal. I can hear its heart. But yes, I will try and stabilize this light somehow. I'm trying to think what might be an appropriate skill here, and I refuse to acknowledge all of the ones that actually are appropriate because I don't have any points in them.
Yeah.
How do you feel about a credit rating check?
Yeah, not great.
Can I pull out a handful of money and start burning that? I'm kidding, of course.
I kind of love it.
He's gonna pay it.
I'll tell you what, make a credit rating roll. Yeah, hell yeah. Fuck it. That's great. No, but what you're doing is, to be clear, these are not long-lasting notes. This is just causing fire, right? So these will then land on chairs and things. What you're basically doing is setting the room ablaze as you send hurling paper notes into the sky around you. Fire begins to ignite, and you can see forever. Or at least until the end of your life.
Money. I'm gonna succeed a survival check. That's what I'm gonna do.
Not.
I'm gonna. You just watch. You just watch. The second I find survival on my sheet, I'm gonna succeed this check. Where the hell is it?
Unless it's listed under survival skills, and you might not have one to begin with.
I do not appear to have a survival skill.
I think base is 10 or 20, right?
Let's find out. I'll just be 2 moments. Sorry, everybody. As I pull out my Call of Cthulhu Keeper's Rulebook, available on Chaosium.com. Survival base is 10.
There you go.
Thank you, everyone.
Ooh.
Got it.
Do you want to spend 1 point to make that an extreme?
Reckon. Extreme success, thank you, David.
All right. I think it's the money, right? You wrap like wads of money around a chair leg and light.
I can't believe it. I'm piling
Holy shit.
bills onto this thing. Flares to life, and suddenly we can see the beast in its true form.
If we can see it, we can fight it. Yeah, all right. So you now have stable light. Everyone can see around Sir Albert. That's going to be your turn, though. Which brings us to Dr. Ash Farley. The beast is right above you. Takes a swing with the Khopesh. There's a bam! A gunshot swings out. And you have an opportunity to flee or fight. What do you want to do?
I want to flee, but I don't know if I can flee and light a torch.
Yeah, no, you can. It'll be a dodge
Lovely.
to just if it takes a swing at you, but you can run for sure.
I'm going to light a torch first.
All right, do you want to give me a survival roll, unless you want to also argue something dumb?
I have my torch and a box of matches.
That'll do it.
This is an actual torch. It's not whatever bullshit
I brought
in the
this
other
earlier.
room.
I am the only person. Like I doused it, but I still have my torch.
No, that makes sense. Yeah, all right. Give me a give me a luck check.
Why?
Because I want it.
Say this after I've lost most of my luck.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, all right. It'll light.
What's going on here? What's going on
beginning
here?
to, as you light it, right? Light fills the area once more, but smoke's beginning to filter off it. And as you look around above you, the roof has like cracked in places, and where the creature takes another, it's like swinging down at Bluey, and it smashes its elbow into one of the walls behind it. The whole thing shudders a bit, and chips are beginning to fall down and around you. This place has, well, you're not a structural expert. This place does not have very long. Let me restore your light, and you can move, but that's your action.
Is there another, with the light now, is there another exit to this room?
Not from here.
Okay, well, then into...
Actually, I'll tell you what, I'll move you just to here so you can see the whole thing. This is,
Yep.
You've experienced the room.
Lovely. I'm going to go and run towards Albert.
Okay, all right. You rush into this room as well. You can see, like he did, this place is filled with, like, it's more personal treasures, this one. And the thunder of a beating heart can be heard from inside the chest in front of you. Bluey, as the creature takes its turn, Dr. Farley runs with the light, and the darkness fades around you once more, and the creature roars and swings its huge sword towards you. Do you want to dodge or fight back? You're going to have a penalty dice regardless.
I would care to dodge.
Yeah, that's probably
You got
the
it,
best.
Bluey. You can do it.
You've got luck.
Oh my god. Oh,
98, which is not a fumble.
It's not a fumble, but barely. All right, you try and tumble out of the way, but in the darkness, you slip against the sarcophagus, and as it hits you with the blade, you tumble backwards, falling into the coffin, and it's as if you are a pharaoh prepared to be mummified. You will take 3d6 of damage, and let's see if you're still breathing on the other side of this. Bluey.
Oh.
I imagine not.
I got 13 hit points.
Do you? That is a major wound, so I need a constitution
It's a major
roll.
wound. If I fail a constitution roll, I fall unconscious. Is that the deal?
That's right, and you have a major wound, so you are dying.
I am absolutely
I believe you're
dying.
only dying if you're under.
If you're also on 0? Yes, you're
Yes,
right. We
yes.
messed it up last time too. Thank you, James. All right, go for it, Jackson.
Oh.
He's good. He's bloody good. So the creature hits you. There's a huge slash and splatter of blood. You tumble over and into the sarcophagus, but the creature's attention you've lost it now. It turns and begins to stomp towards the other room, and it's your turn. The revolver in hand, no lights. You're in a sarcophagus. What do you want to do?
It's no longer coming at me.
No,
It's
no,
turned
it's
around.
done. I'll move and it's beginning to like power towards the others.
I don't think that's a good idea. I think whatever is in that room has a slim chance of holding something to defeat it. I don't know. But if it's crossed the other side of me, then it's silhouetted against the light.
hell
So I don't
yeah,
think I got
dude.
my penalty dice anymore.
I don't think you
Save
do.
yourself.
I'm gonna fan the hammer.
He's a damn
shots.
hero. All right, so 2 bonus dice for size and point blank, -1 for fanning the hammer. You can make 3 attacks, each with a bonus die.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty bloody good. From the prone
Alright.
position, boom, boom.
All right, first one. With
Oh,
hard with a
bloody hell.
bonus die. So a hard.
For 5 damage first.
That's 5 damage. Is he trying to dodge or riposte these?
no,
or?
dude. He's not going to die for cover, and he's outside of riposting range. So these are just hitting.
Well,
You
all
may
right
want to
then.
consider lucking to an extreme.
Also worth
Oh,
it. That will
may I?
maximize your damage and add another D8.
Well, I think I better do that for
Alright,
just 9
yeah,
points. That's a bargain, mate. Stone cold bargain. All right, so that wasn't 5 damage.
Actually, we'll just add 8 to it
was
and treat that as. Oh no, actually no. You should re-roll
8
it.
and
'cause
then
that
plus
might-
D8.
Yeah, add a D8.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So 8 plus 7. That's not bad. 15 damage, and that was my first shot, ladies and gentlemen.
Bluey, the Australian hero.
So it's taken.
Oh, dude!
30,
Can you luck it to a?
28 points. That'll be pretty much the rest of my luck. Should I do it?
It's
I'll be
18
honest-
points. It's not
Actually,
28.
It's in the silhouette. You're
18.
seeing shots hit in center of mass. You're doing an amazing amount of damage. If you
It's
want to be
18
sure, you want to
luck.
be sure though. It's up to you.
You can have 18 luck.
All right, roll another D8. Add it on top.
That brings me down to 13 damage. So, in fact, the second shot is 8 plus 1. 9.
Had
I
better
should have just
returns.
kept the 8 damage. That's all right.
All right, last
And
attack.
the final shot looks like a failure, but
Oh!
actually, it's another hard 4
points.
points off an extreme. You should have that. 4 points of luck. Brings me down to 9 luck points left for 3 extreme successes, 3 impaling damage. Final shot is 8 plus 6, 14 damage.
He's a damn hero. So as the creature hits this room, it like fills the doorway, its arms surround the side, it pulls its way into the room. The two of you look around, light filling the area, and scream in terror, and then boom, boom, boom. Explosions of blood from the front, and it staggers, its mouth open, black blood spilling down and dripping onto the floor, and then it tumbles to one knee and reaches out towards the chest with the beating heart inside it and slams into the ground. Dead. Unmoving.
Oh my God!
And from the other room, you can see Bluey, like the light barely catching with like the smoking gun, lying prone in the sarcophagus.
Mr. Williams, and I'll rush to him.
You rush to him, leaving the room and sort of stepping over the corpse of this creature. As you do, though, the thing hit a couple things on the way down, and there's cracks in the ceiling above. And Dr. Farley, you are keenly aware. You have moments to flee. This whole thing is going to come down any moment now. A larger rock hits you on the side and tumbles to the ground. What do the three of you want to do?
Quick, grab him and to the entrance. We can use the dynamite to escape. And I'll grab the poor man's shoulders and start trying to shuffle him towards the entryway.
Is there enough of, like, how long is the fuse on this thing?
Long enough. Maybe an extended one and then wrapped around and then you just cut it short. It can go as long as you want. It's up to you.
Lovely.
Within reason.
I'd like the heart to not be a thing anymore.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea.
So I'm going to put the dynamite next to the chest with something long enough that we can run to the entrance.
But we need the dynamite to get out of the entrance.
No, I really don't think we do. I think we're dead one way or the other. Because if the dynamite goes off, we will get crushed.
Grab the heart. Bring the heart with us. We'll use the heart. The dynamite blow up the heart and door same time.
And if it collapses, it'll be buried beneath the sand. No one will have to worry about it.
It's too heavy for me to lift, isn't it? Like the chest is
It
very
is pretty heavy. You could try and open it and get what's inside. It'd be a strength roll.
I can do it.
More dust begins to shift down.
You're still able to act.
Bluey.
You can throw me off and run over and grab it. That's so cool.
Sorry, I didn't mean to steal the spotlight.
No, hell yeah. All right, so Bluey staggers back into the room over the corpse of the holstering the gun. All right, give me a strength roll. You son of a gun.
Oh my God, Bluey.
You just like throw the chest open, and inside there are 5 Canopic Jars. Each of them bears the head of an animal, but Dr. Farley, you would immediately recognize that typically there are only 4. One of them has an inverted ankh atop it, and you can see the whole thing kind of quiver as the heart inside beats.
Going to grab that one. Yes, I'll grab that one, and we're going to run now.
All right, you grab it under your shoulder, and with the torch held, the 3 of you begin to run out. Can I get dexterity rolls from all 3 of you? As the ceiling is literally beginning to fall down around you, you leap over the corpse, back through the room with the 2 mummified guards.
Oh. Sorry, looking for... That was dexterity, right?
Dexterity.
Come on up.
Oh, he's good.
What?
All right, Dr. Farley, you are going to take a D4 of damage as something slugs
and
into
the
your
people
back.
who did really fucking well help me.
At this point, it's kind of every man for themselves. Take a D4 of damage. You're all right. You're still running, but you just get slugged in the back as something tumbles down from the sky above. All right, 3 points of damage. You're still moving. You clear the antechamber and begin to squeeze back through the archway and towards the passageway. What I need to show, so only one of you can go through at a time. Who's going to go through first? Because the other people are going to have to repeat their rolls.
I'll slow you down. You lot go after me.
You're injured, man.
Yeah,
I'm going. I'm gone.
Dr. Farley
I have
has,
a jar. I'm just gone.
like, slides in and goes, best of luck, and then darts out the other side, and you're in the passageway. You do have a torch as well. So you move ahead. Can I get dexterity rolls from Sir Albert Wellingsley and Burke Bluey Williams?
Sure can.
That's good. All right, who wants to go next? From the other side, Professor, you begin to head towards the doorway. Who's going through next?
I'll seize Mr. Williams by the collar and I will say, Bluey, I've never done something in my life. I've always let others do it for me. Let me try just once, even if it's the last thing I do, and I'll shove you towards the...
Oh, so wholesome.
Bloody legends. All right. Bluey, you go through the doorway, and just as you clear the other side, you see stone from above begin to crumble down towards the ground. So Wubbingsley, make your roll again, and this time, fuck it, let's make it hard.
Sure.
He's fucking good!
He does it!
The, like, dust slams to the ground in front of you, and as it clears, you see the dilettantes, like, crawling through the tunnel after you. Your leg gets clipped, but you're all on the other side. This whole place is getting worse and worse and worse, and this area is not safe either. On the other side, the slab is still in place. They've had no luck in opening it. It's still closed, and the explosives you carry are going to be needed to open it. However, this requires a demolitions roll, which is a base 1% skill, I'm pretty sure. If you all are willing to spend another round doing it, you can prepare taking a bonus die, and one of you can assist. But there's only so far luck can get you.
Who has the most luck?
Who wants to go for it?
I have.
I am shocked that the Sorge doesn't have demolition, so I'm trying to confirm that, but I guess not.
I have 32 luck.
You have the most luck.
Yep. All right. So I'm adding a demolition skill at base 1.
I think base 1 is right. Actually, yeah, I'm pretty sure base 1 is right.
At base 1. And I'll be able to do that. So I'll be able to do this with a bonus die from the others. Is that correct?
Oh, I stand corrected. In the rules, it can be mechanical repair can be substituted, which Bluey, you're pretty good at, I think.
Oh, yeah. I don't want to be the hero of the whole story. That's
And yet, here we
No,
are.
it's a team effort.
all right
effort.
then. Cool. All right, so I'll have a roll. I'm getting a bonus die from
Yep,
each of
you
them.
can get a bonus die. No, so you'll gain 1 from some. They're
Just
both
one.
collective assistance. And as you set this up, I will need dexterity sets from everyone. Just normal success for this one.
All right. One thing. Can I substitute giving a bonus die to Bluey to be shielding him? Because if he takes a single hit, he's going to fall unconscious. So I will literally
Absolutely,
place myself
absolutely.
above. Yeah.
Yes. I will give you in that case. I'm going to give you a penalty die on the dexterity check, if that's okay.
Sure.
But you will shield that blow. So Bluey, you don't need to roll. You don't have a bonus die. Dr. Farley, make a normal dexterity check.
Dr. Farley's still assisting though.
Oh yeah, you're right. That's true.
Yeah.
I play that. All right. I take it back. So rolls are going to be Dr. Farley making a normal dexterity check, which has succeeded. So Wubbingsley making a penalty dice dexterity check, and Bluey making a mechanical repair with
Mechanical
a bonus
repair.
dice.
I failed my dexterity check. Do I know it? Oh.
It's a D4 of damage to you, Sir Albert.
Success.
Oh, 3!
And
Oh,
I'll
man.
burn my luck to not take the damage so that we can just tear out.
You light the fuse and you place the Canopic Jar. Like, you almost, like, put it, like, leant up against it so it holds it in place next to the thing. And the three of you each take a few steps back. There's
Wait,
suddenly
are we destroying the jar or are we taking it with us?
Destroying, right? That was the read I got.
I don't know.
You're the one
I'm
carrying it.
inclined
It's
to
your call.
Destroy it. It's next to the dynamite. Blow
It's
it
your
up.
call, Dr. Farley. You were carrying it. Are you holding it or is it down? There's no time to argue. It's yours.
I'm holding it.
All right. So I think actually, as you place it down, the last thing, Farley like grabs like make sure like no, this has to come with us. It's important, and steps backwards. You can feel the heart beating against you like a child as you nurse it to your chest.
I've decided this is what's happening.
And you all step away. The fuse down, and then suddenly there's an explosion. The door splinters outwards, and the whole thing begins to tumble down. You all rush through. I need dexterity checks. Final ones from all three of you. I tell you now, failure is death. Or at least entombed entrapment. Roll them.
I've got enough.
The dice have spoken. Alright. I'm gonna leave these in your hands. What happens with the final explosion? So this place is coming down, and as the explosion triggers, everything just tumbles. Rocks slam into the ground around you, building walls as you try and move past them. You can each try and do a final action or something, but Dr. Farley, Sir Wubbingsley, unless you have the luck to...
I've got the luck to burn.
Okay, so Wubbingsley might have a chance. I'll tell you what, Farley, you can push it. I reckon the heart... I reckon you have to leave the heart behind. That's gonna be it. It's like, you know, you get that point where it's there and you have to choose between it or the other one.
I mean, I'm pretty sure I'm still gonna die because I'm not gonna succeed
There's
this,
always
but
a
I'll push it
chance.
because I'm dead one way or the other.
Man,
Oh my god.
they can't be killed if you try.
This is an extreme, which would suggest I get out with the jar.
The penalty doesn't apply. The
But
penalty's
it's a-
only if you fail it.
Oh.
All right.
And Albert had enough luck?
I have 32 luck
Albert
remaining.
has
I
just
burned my
enough
luck.
All right. Bluey, you're the first out the door, and you rush up the stone steps. The whole thing crumbles around you. It builds like a tomb behind you, and for a moment you think there's no chance, when suddenly like there's an explosion and a coughing splutter as Sir Wubbingsley tumbles out onto the ground in front of you and crawls his way up the steps towards you. It's another beat, and a literal beat, before Dr. Farley returns, because the jar that they were carrying has been smashed into splinters, lacerating their hands, and they are carrying, almost nursing like a baby bird or something,
God.
a beating, pus-filled heart as they like drag their way out and up into the harsh desert winds of the Egyptian Valley of Kings. The tomb behind you crumbles into dust and ancient history, and the workers around you all see the heart beating, and in terror they run, for they know that this bodes ill, and that should the Dark Pharaoh return, all will be laid to waste, and Dr. Farley may have just beckoned him in. What's a very brief eclogue for the three of you? What comes of this?
Bluey goes to, I guess, a nearby field hospital, rests up for a few days, and then returns back to his farm in the outback, having considered that he has repaid his debts and reclaimed his honor from his time in the war.
That box has been checked. Nope. You're a damn hero. You've earned your rest, soldier. All right. Who next?
Wubbingsley returns back home, and I mentioned at one point I was playing with a scepter, and I think that I just sort of happened to have it in my hand as we left, purely by accident. And it goes up on the mantelpiece, and I papa in my papa and mama's face, and proving that I can do things. But I have also been inspired by the actions of my companions, and I get a job for 2 weeks.
A new record, and that's enough for you to coast for another decade of your life. Well done. So, Wubbingsley, you have earned your rest. Dr. Farley, how do things resolve?
Well, the standard procedure for weighing a heart is you take a heart and you weigh it against the feather of Mart, and if you succeed, Hoth records that in the Book of the Dead, and you are free to travel. If not, Amit devours your heart and your soul cannot return to your body. Farley eats the heart.
No!
So, as the other two, make their way, you tell them enough of what they want to hear.
What I thought, the picture I would like to leave everyone with is, everyone starts to move off, and, Farley's just, takes a bite of a, heart.
You pull it back, and and with each bite, it still continues to beat, but it's not pushing blood. It's pushing black bile and pus, which floods your stomach, and you have to fight the urge to vomit. But each time you continue on and on and on, it will kill you.
I thought you were gonna feed it to a crocodile.
And Dr. Farley collapses in the desert, filled with bile and worms and maggots and sickness. Days passes as you just will yourself to die, but it won't, because the heart inside you is eating you from within. But eventually it begins to settle, you begin to see peace, and you yourself pass into the afterlife. And you believe you have stopped whatever dark things were coming. Maybe
See, I was really hoping that if I ate it, it would just become my heart, and then things would happen from then on. But death is
always
also
a
fun.
chance. What's wrong with death? All right. Well done, gang. Good shit. That was awesome. Shot the hell out of it. All right, so that was the Necropolis, one of 3 scenarios in Gateways to Terror, and fear not, we're gonna do the other 2 right next. So we'll be back next week playing What's in the Cellar. Then we're away for a week on a break, and then we're back for the Dead Border. So stay tuned. Thanks for watching.
Thank you, David.
Thank you, David.